Welcome, witches.
I'm Jen.
I'm Candy.
And we're the Cornfield Coven. All right. Okay, witches, we started you off with pretty heavy true crime. And to make sure you still liked us, we've thrown some fun things your way. We did ghosts, we did cryptids, we did a curse, and a bonus. Oh my. Well, the fun train ends there. I'm gonna fuck you up today. I just am. Sorry, not sorry. You've been warned. Today I'm going to tell you the true story that inspired William Peter Blatty's novel and, by association, what is often known as the most horrifying movie of all time, The Exorcist. Yes, I actually just read the novel for the first time this past fall.
Wait, what kind of novel is it, though? What color is the novel?
Yes,
what does it
exactly.
do?
I was just going to say, it's all Candy's fault. Paper Moon's fault, because they got an edition of the novel that glows in the dark. It is like bright green, and her face glows in the dark. And
I love listening to you scream behind a closed door, or like the whole, not scream, but the whole whoo when you guys saw it. That was priceless.
Yes. And as we have previously established, we are both suckers for pretty books, so. And I have to say that movie may be one of the closest adaptations that I have ever seen. It is canon. But yes, this was all inspired by a true story, and what you think about it is up to you. And this rattled me. I had the heebie-jeebies when I was researching it. I had them when I was scripting it. I can feel them coming on now. Not a lot rattles me, and my son is starting to learn that too. He's like, oh, that haunted house didn't really freak me out. I'm like, bro, you gotta lower your expectations, because you're my kid. I think it's something about, I'm a huge control freak. I'm obsessive compulsive, and just the thought of not having control of your own body is really...
That's hard. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, before we get into the story, I'm going to go ahead and define the 4 types of demonic activity as laid out by the Catholic Church.
Oh, the Catholics.
Yes. So first we have demonic infestation, which is the presence of evil in a location or an object. Then it's demonic vexation, which is physical attacks by a demon. Oh. Demonic obsession is mental attacks by a demon. And finally, demonic possession is when the demon takes control of a person's body. Wow. And exorcism is a special prayer to help someone afflicted by demonic forces, and is paired with laying hands on the afflicted, breathing on them, and invoking the Holy Spirit. All right.
Okay. I mean, when you read that, I mean, you can literally see the movie in your head with him with the cross above her and release her,
Yes. And when I said that the movie was one of the closest adaptations, I meant to the novel. We are going to see there are very big differences between the true story and Blatty's work. But okay, so let's get started. This is in 1949. 14-year-old Roland Doe was living in Maryland with his parents. Yes, I know this is not a Midwest. Give me a minute. We're going to get there. Roland was kind of a rowdy kid. He had some trouble focusing in school. Now, this is 30 years before any attention deficit disorder definition, so that really wasn't a thing here. Roland was really close with his Aunt Harriet, who many people called Tilly. And Tilly was a spiritualist who taught him how to communicate with the dead using a talking board. Nope,
Is that a Ouija board?
I'm out. Yes. Okay. So talking boards, you may know them better by the, I think it's Parker Brothers game.
I was going to say the Parker Brothers game.
Ouija, yes. But they're actually just in a general sense. That's like calling tissues Kleenex. They're talking
margarine
boards.
Butter.
Yes. So yeah, I'm out. I think talking boards are absolutely beautiful. Like, I would use them to decorate my house for like everyday decoration, but I can't. I can't do it. I really feel like playing with those is opening a door to something we just do not understand, and I don't know what's coming through that door, so I'm just going to keep it close. Just because you're trying to talk to Grandpa doesn't mean Beelzebub isn't coming through.
Did I ever tell you about the time I think I was 12, 13. It was 8th grade, and I went to Catholic school, and I got my hands on a Ouija board because, they're in the game section.
Yep.
And I had 3 friends over, and we were upstairs in my room, and we were like, let's listen to, it was after play practice because we were doing a play. Anyways, and we had the Ouija board out, and we're like, let's see if it does anything. It's not real. Well, we asked a question, and I remember my friend Noelle and Steven and Tim and I are sitting there, and we're naive. And anyways, we asked a question, and at the same time, my mom decided to vacuum downstairs right below us. And let me tell you, we screamed so loud, and then all of a sudden my radio started playing the Aladdin soundtrack from Disney, and the very first song is the beginning of the movie, where all of a sudden that gentleman goes, Salana, whatever, how he says it, good evening, and we were like screaming again, and that was the last time I played a Ouija board. I was like, demons are in my room coming from Disney. Like, but yeah. So yeah, I feel you.
Anywhere.
Yes, I feel you, but it was a great way to... Yeah. My mom still laughs about it. Like, she's like, remember the time you tried the Ouija board? I'm like, shut up. Shut up. But...
Okay. So back to Roland. In mid-January 1949, Roland's parents started to notice scratching sounds in the walls. They thought they might have rats.
I was going to say rats.
Yep. And Candy just put her hood up and closed it completely.
Snakes, rats.
But an exterminator verified the house was clean. So then Roland's mother started to wonder if the house was haunted. And in late January, Tilly passed away. It was really upsetting and unexpected for everyone. And that's when the noises really began to escalate. It sounded like troops were marching in Roland's room. His mother requested that if the sounds are coming from Tilly, that she knock 3 times. She claims they heard 3 knocks, but then she couldn't understand why Tilly was tormenting them. Well, if a demon is trying to get at you, they're probably not going to be like, but I can't lie and say that I'm Tilly.
Right.
They're probably going to be willing to tell you they are a loved one.
Come here, little child. Yes. Let me give you a hug. And then,
that's how the whole Annabelle thing was. Yep. She said she was a little girl, and oh my God, now I'm really freaked out. Yeah, dolls are the other thing that really, really gets to me, and if there are any of those episodes, Candy will be doing them, and I will be in the fetal position on the floor. So the activity continued to escalate. Dishes and furniture are moving around. Roland's bed is shaking with the headboard banging and the mattress flopping with Roland atop it. He's waking up howling inhumanely and thrashing. His classmates start to witness things as well, such as papers flying across the room, books falling off his desk vibrating. And the teachers blamed Roland, but he swore he wasn't doing it. And eventually he just stopped going to school.
Wow.
Yeah. Then in February of 1949, at this point, Roland is having nightmares every night, accompanied by a rattling bed and wild thrashing. So his parents took him to a doctor. Good job, parents. This is 1949, so this is good. Could it be epilepsy? The doctor could find nothing physically wrong with him. Next, they tried a psychiatrist. Could it be schizophrenia? Nothing wrong. Then a psychologist. Nothing wrong. Now, this wasn't a great time for psychiatry, but I'll not recommend the parents. I don't know what I would recommend them for. I will commend them for trying. But I also have to note that there are no medical records for Roland Doe at this time beyond a note from a psychiatrist that described the boy as normal but high-strung, quote. So after the doctors handed them a heaping pile of nothing, Roland's parents consulted their minister.
So basically he had ADHD.
That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, that doesn't explain everything that's going on in the house, but it sounded like he exhibited some symptoms of that before.
Excuse me.
But again, this is 30 years before
anything
like that came around. So he would just kind of be considered like a troubled youth.
Yeah.
But troubled youths don't shake their entire beds. Typically, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. Okay, so they consulted their minister, who was Reverend Luther Miles Scholes. And he was interested in parapsychology. And he wondered if poltergeist could be the cause of the activity, and he wanted to test his theory. Scholes did not think that a poltergeist would change locations. So he had Roland come to his house. His wife took the guest room, and Roland bunked with Scholes. And now, this is 1949, so I'm really hoping, and I really do think that they had the, like, Lucy and Ricky twin beds, because otherwise this gets disturbing on a different level. But it really does seem like that when we get into what happens. As soon as the lights goes out, the bed Roland is in starts to shake. Scholes suggests then that Roland go sleep in the armchair that's in the room. The chair starts shaking so violently that it throws Roland to the floor. So then Scholes pulls a mattress to the floor. And this is why I think there's really two different beds, because he was still sleeping on a mattress in his bed, and he pulls the other mattress to the floor right next to his bed and says, "Okay, Roland, sleep here." The mattress slides under the other bed where Scholes is and starts bouncing up and down so that Roland's face is being smashed into the bed springs on the other, on the underside.
Oh.
So it's not a poltergeist, and Roland goes home. For 4 nights in a row, 3 scratches appear on Roland's body. And at this point, Scholes is like, "Yo, I'm out." I don't know what to tell you. He says, "This is more than I can handle as a Lutheran minister. I really suggest that you go take Roland to see a Catholic priest." And he recommended one. So when the parents then bring Roland to see Father Albert Hughes, and as we get further into this, feel free to stop me and go, "Now wait, who's this guy?" Because we're getting into a lot of clerics here.
I was going to say, because he, if I remember correctly, he had multiple, because when the priest would bring help, like some of these young priests in training would freak out and like, nope.
Yeah, there's a lot of people with the church involved here. So we're going to start with Father Albert Hughes. He is a Jesuit priest. And by the way, Jesuits are part of a particular religious order in the Catholic Church that make a profession of perpetual poverty, chastity, and obedience. They do evangelical missions, and are usually teachers. So when they bring Roland into Hughes's office, the temperature drops significantly in the room, and the phone started sliding across the desk, and Roland stated, quote, "Why bother me, you priest of hell?" So then it is said that Hughes sensed an evil presence in the boy. What was your first clue there, Padre? Was it the phone or the temperature or the demonic voice? I don't know. So Hughes does say that he thinks the talking board could have opened the doorway, and quickly begins to believe that it could be Lucifer, who is God's favorite angel, fallen from grace, the devil himself. Hughes contacted Archbishop Patrick O'Doyle of the Archdiocese of DC to request an exorcism, and the bishop decided to allow it. So to get an exorcism through the Catholic Church, it has to go through certain channels.
Yeah.
I think it was less, at this time, I think it was less strict than it is now. Like now I think it's got to go like almost to the Vatican.
Well, because movies, books, and stuff have sparked where everybody wants to see a priest do their thing, and they have to weed through the lies and
exactly. And we'll get into a lot of the impact that this story had on society. Okay, so sometime in February or early March, Hughes admits Roland to the psych ward of the Georgetown Hospital. Roland is strapped to the bed, and Hughes begins to perform the rites of exorcism. Roland slips his hand out of the restraints, grabs a spring from the bed, and slices Hughes' arm from shoulder to wrist, reportedly requiring 100 stitches.
Oh my.
Yes. So at some point after that, Roland is released from the hospital and goes home because Hughes was like, yeah, no, I'm good. We don't need to do that again. Scratches begin to appear on Roland's chest that to his parents look like the word Louis or Louis, Louis. Now they have family in St. Louis, and they take this as a sign that they are meant to take Roland there.
I was just thinking Lucifer. Like,
yeah. But listen,
wow.
y'all, don't be bringing your devil to the Midwest. We got our own stuff going on.
We got curses.
But if they didn't, then I wouldn't be telling you the story, so it's fine. In mid-March, the Does arrive in the Belle-Noire suburb of St. Louis. Belle-Noire is now inextricably linked to this exorcism. They are staying with devout Catholic relatives and hoping that they have left their demons behind. They go to bed. They're tired. They've been traveling. And it is not very long before Roland's bed is bouncing. Things are flying about the room. He's screaming and terrified.
When he was at the mental hospital, did his bed ever move?
I don't know. I couldn't find anything about that. And I don't know how much of what happened in Maryland is really well documented. I'm not sure.
Because I was just curious. I was like, when you call the plumber because something's backed up, and then they get there, and all of a sudden the drain in the sink goes down, you're like, damn it.
Yes.
It's like, so when they got him into the mental ward or the psych ward, did all of a sudden it stop? And if it did stop, I'd be like, keep me here.
Yeah.
I want to sleep.
Yeah. You would think. And there are parts in the story where things do stop. But I think a lot of that is the demon messing with people.
Yeah.
So seeing all of this, Roland's cousin, who she's been living with, went to her professor, who is Father Raymond Bishop, and he agreed to monitor Roland's nightly behavior. So Bishop arrives at the Belle-Noire house with his colleague, Father William Bowdern, and Bowdern is a Jesuit priest. Bowdern reads several prayers as Roland gets ready for bed. Everything appears to be calm. And then shortly after the priests leave, the noises begin from Roland's room. A bottle of holy water flies across the room. A bookcase moves and blocks the door. The priests return and they witness the activity. And Bowdern really begins to believe that there is something demonic about it. So he consults the Roman Ritual, which is a 17th century text detailing the rules, prayers, and rituals of the ancient Catholic rite of exorcism. To request an exorcism, Bowdern must prove that Roland is on the path to full possession. Roland has already experienced the first three types of demonic activity: infestation, vexation, and obsession. So Bowdern is really hoping that an exorcism will spare Roland from full possession. So Bowdern contacts Archbishop Joseph Ritter of St. Louis to request an exorcism and that another priest perform it. Bowdern didn't want to do this. He didn't feel that he was qualified. He'd never done anything, encountered anything like this before. He really thought that someone with more experience should come in and perform this exorcism. Well, Ritter allowed for the exorcism, but he insisted that Bowdern should be the one to do it. Yay! Yes, and Ritter also insisted that they keep this a secret, the exorcism. Gotta mum's the word here.
Secrets always stay secret.
Right. On March 16th, 1949, Bowdern arrives with Father Bishop, who was the cousin's professor who originally heard about this, and Walter Halloran, who is a seminary student. And they have both volunteered to assist Bowdern with the exorcism. So despite being told to keep the exorcism a secret, Bowdern insists that Bishop keep a diary of the exorcism to help future priests deal with this impossible situation, as at this time there was no formal training for how to do an exorcism.
Go with the flow.
Yes. So, and much of the information that we're going to cover from this point on actually came from Bishop's diary. Now, the original is locked away in Vatican archives.
Okay, you were just reading my mind. I'm like, where's the original?
Yeah, but a copy was leaked.
So, fun fact, when I was little going to Catholic school, I wanted to be a nun. Like, they get to sit in silence and read books all day. Later, I learned it was mainly the Bible. And I was like, oh, okay. But I wanted to be a nun because I wanted to get, like, high up in the nunnery world. Because I wanted to go and work. Because I had watched Van Helsing as a child. And I wanted to work with the secret order that works with exorcisms, vampires, all that. Yeah. The monster. But then I hit high school and found boys. And I was like, I'll just read about it. But
time for a new dream.
But, yeah, I mean, these gentlemen that volunteer, I'm like, they had no idea what they were really volunteering for. Oh.
Right, they really didn't. So Bishop is going to keep a diary. They prepare themselves and the necessary items, which are holy water, a purple stole, which is the thing that priests wear around their necks, like a
scarf.
It's kind of like a scarf. Like when you graduate and you graduate with honors or whatever, you have that thing that goes over your robes.
The stoles have different embroidery on them for the different holy holidays. But also, I think, I'm probably jumping forward, but didn't his have like protection? Like,
it was like purple.
Okay.
And so it needed to be purple, and it was long enough that it could be wrapped around both the priest and the afflicted.
Do not tie me to the afflicted.
Yes, right? And of course, the Roman ritual. As Bowdern begins to recite prayers in Latin, commanding the demon to reveal itself, scratches appear on Roland in defiance. The word help appears on Roland's chest like a brand. 9 hours into the night, Roland falls asleep. Bowdern believed that this is when full possession took hold. So he believes he was still in the first 3 phases of demonic activity, and when they started the exorcism, that is when the full demonic possession actually took hold.
Holy crap.
Yes. Oh, I just got shivers. Okay, so after 2 nights of exorcisms, Roland spent a day like a normal boy, as if nothing had been going on. But then that night, Roland is snarling and biting. He gestured that he wanted the window open, that he was going to vomit, that the demon was leaving him. Roland does vomit and falls asleep. Bowdern hopes the demon may be gone. Spoiler alert.
He's not.
It was not. It just really likes to fuck with them. So the activity and the exorcisms continue. Late in his life, Halloran, who was the seminary student who was there, would state that he saw that bed levitate 8 inches off the floor and slam back down.
Oh.
Yes. After more than a week of exorcisms, Roland was moved to the rectory in St. Francis Xavier College Church at St. Louis University. His outbursts during the night were beginning to attract unwanted attention, though. Kids are starting to say, "Have you heard the noises coming from the rectory at night? Like, what is going on now?
What is that priest doing?"
Yes.
That's where a lot of the rumor... No.
Yeah. And remember, this is supposed to be a secret. So...
They can't say anything.
Yes. And Roland is, at this point, beginning to display unnatural human strength. It is requiring 3 grown men to restrain him. At one point, he punched Halloran, breaking his nose. Yeah, so a few days later, Roland returned to the Belnor house and was quiet for several days. So, you know, we've kind of got these patterns on where just this thing really likes to just mess with them and what's going on. And then Roland was gesturing that he wanted paper. He needed to write something down. So he ended up writing the following. And this is, quote, "I will stay 10 days, but will return after the 4 days are up. I am the devil himself," unquote.
Oh.
So Bishop took this to mean the possession would last 10 more days. Spoiler alert. It lasted longer than that. So Bowdern then suggested that Roland be baptized as a Catholic to expel the forces of evil and assist with the exorcism. You know, this is a Catholic rite. Him being baptized Catholic, you know, can only help the situation. So as his uncle is driving him to the church, Roland rages and lunges for the steering wheel. The uncle had to pull over. There was no accident or anything. And eventually he did get Roland to the church. He was dragged into the rectory, cursing and spitting. And he was so hysterical that they did perform the baptism, but it was a shortened version of the full rite.
They just dunked him.
Probably.
Just dunk him now.
3 days later, Bowdern suggested the family return to Maryland, and he would go with them to find medical treatment for him there. So they get there and they start looking into all these different medical facilities, spiritual facilities, Catholic facilities. Nobody wants to touch this kid with a 10-foot pole. They cannot find anywhere to take him for help. And so they return to Belnor to continue the exorcism.
Wow.
On April 10th, and we're still in 1949, they admit Roland to the Alexian Brothers Hospital Psych Ward. This is a facility that was run by an ancient order of Catholic monks and was known for its secrecy. So it's a good place to continue this activity, I guess. A few days later, Halloran takes Roland to the White House Retreat Center, which is like this beautiful, retreat facility on a bluff on the river. And he's really thinking, this is a 12-year-old kid. He needs to get out. He needs fresh air.
Yep.
And so they're out for a walk there, and the path along the bluff displays the Stations of the Cross. And for those who don't know this, these are representations of Jesus carrying his cross to his own crucifixion. Each one is a specific point in this journey. And they're usually represented by statues, sculptures, paintings, something like that.
A little saying below it that explains.
Yep. Roland becomes really agitated seeing these and begins running for the edge of the cliff, requiring Halloran to tackle him. And once he does, Roland has no memory of what happened. And
he's lucky they just didn't push him over.
Well,
I mean, end it now. Just
that's probably, not in their priestly oaths.
That is true. But you know what? I have to give all of these priests and monks high credit because I wouldn't want to be around him. Afraid I would catch.
They endured to try to save this boy are incredible.
Or afraid that it would transfer to me. Like I wouldn't want to be possessed and then let's hang with this boy all this time.
Yeah. So, and later, an Alexian monk monk gave a dying interview in which he divulged what he had seen while helping with the exorcism. He said that Roland grabbed the purple stole and shredded it in seconds, and that he levitated and could not be pushed down. This monk said, I put my hands like above his ankles and tried to push them back to the bed, and all my strength, I couldn't do it. So these are just some, little anecdotes that have come out throughout the years. So after nearly a month of nightly exorcisms, Bowdern was showing signs of stress. He was displaying boils. He had an I'm going to get it. Emaciated, frail figure after losing about 40 pounds in a month.
Wow.
So, like I said, these priests went through so much just trying to save this boy. They're basically sacrificing themselves.
And it's a 24-hour job because,
right.
like you're saying...
They did have people coming in and out, but it was Bowdern who was performing the active exorcisms overnight.
Wow.
On April 16th, a monk placed a statue of St. Michael in Roland's room. Michael is the one who fought Lucifer and cast him and his fallen angels out of heaven. So he represents protection from evil forces. And they started to notice that Roland was reacting differently to prayers that were related to Mike. I'm just going to call him Mike. I feel like I know him. On April 18th, we are now at more than a month of exorcisms. Roland complains that the religious medals around his neck burn, but Bowdern refuses to remove them and forces a crucifix into Roland's hand, causing him to convulse as Bowdern demands the identity of the demon. In a deep voice, Roland responds, quote, he has to say one more word, one little word. I mean, one big word. He'll never say it. I am always in him. I may not have much power always, but I am in him. He will never say that word, end quote. And remember, this is coming from the diary, so this is, yeah. Roland then defies the demon and calmly demands that the demon leave him with prayers to St. Michael, as Bowdern realizes the word Roland must say is Dominus, which is the Latin word for Lord. Roland goes into the most violent convulsions so far, but is able to explain to the priest that he's having a vision of himself outside a cave with an angel wielding a flaming sword. This would be St. Michael. Mike was pushing the demons back to hell, and he smiled at Roman and said, Dominus.
Oh.
After several minutes of fits, Roland relaxes and says he's gone. Roland immediately appeared to return to normal, but Bowdern was skeptical the demon had played this trick before.
I was just going to say.
Yes.
Do not believe.
Yes. So Bowdern had been praying for a sign when the possession was truly over. Just then, there was a massive boom that shook the building. One monk reported he thought the furnace had exploded.
Oh my
gosh. That's how intense it was. At the same time, priests were reporting a vision of St. Michael over the altar at St. Francis Xavier College Church. That's how Bowdern knew it was over. He prayed for a sign and he got one.
Wow.
Yeah. So Roland and his family remained in St. Louis for a couple of weeks before returning home to Maryland.
Smart.
Roland contacted Bowdern once more, writing a letter to tell him he was happy, back in school, and he had gotten a dog. Yeah. Roland remained a devout Catholic. He went to a Catholic Jesuit high school. He became a literal rocket scientist, working for NASA and creating many patents. He married and named his first son Michael. He lived a full life and never spoke publicly about his experience. He passed away in 2020. I'm not using his real name out of respect for privacy. If you research this, you will find his real name. He didn't want to be public about this, so I'm not going to use this name, even though he's passed now.
I am amazed he married and had children.
Yes.
Because I would be afraid of passing a gene or, passing it like it was dormant or a piece. But how do you tell your future wife? So back in the day.
Right.
shook the bed, like, in a non-sexual way. Like,
right.
Demons. Like, wow.
Yeah. And you know,
kudos to her.
He did amazing. He was such a good student. He became a rocket scientist. He developed patents. He
was devoured by Lucifer.
So, you know, if his issues were some sort of ADHD, you don't just shut that off.
No.
You know, but after this, he really just led a really successful life. So, I find that very interesting. So after reviewing the evidence, which 48 witnesses had signed off on, the Catholic Church refuses to confirm or deny that this was a true case of demonic possession.
Because they like to deny that demons really exist out in the everyday world.
Well, they don't want it to come back on them either.
Yes.
If it's, you know, somehow debunked someday.
I always got sent into the hallway at Catholic school when I was little, and I'd say, well, there's this demon I heard about. And they'd be like, Miss Walker, you need to go into the hallway. And then a week later, so I heard. And they'd be like, Miss Walker. And oh my gosh, the phone calls my parents got. See, I was curious back then.
The priests who were there absolutely believe it was real. And though Bowdern didn't speak of it much, he did confirm that he believed Roland was possessed. The final report, along with the diary, is locked in the Vatican archives. But in 1978, when the psych wing of the Alexian Brothers Hospital was scheduled to be demolished, a booklet was found in a desk.
I was going to say, there had to have been somebody's notes, somebody's files. Like, yes, that priest had his book. But you know somebody else. And they didn't have computers.
It was a copy of Bishop's diary is what they found.
Because I was going to say,
a copy was
they didn't
made.
have computers back then.
Yeah. Wow. Now, just a little extra tidbit, in case you're not heebie-jeebied out enough. Investigators, and I'm really sorry if I mispronounce this, Stephen LeChange, claims that a church official gave him access to a medical facility near the old Alexian Brothers Hospital. The official led him to a door and told him to put his ear to it, but not open it. They would not let him open it. He claims he heard sounds like things were crashing around in the room beyond. And this is like an abandoned part of this medical facility. The official told him it was where the priest had stayed. LeChange believes and said that this church official told him when the demon left Roland, it went into one of the priests in the room. And they housed the priest in this place until his death in 1983.
That poor guy, he just wanted to give his life to God, and then here he is doing the Lord's work, and he gets possessed and tortured till he passes.
Not great.
Oh.
So let's talk about The Exorcist a little bit. William Peter Blatty attended Georgetown University from 1946 to 1950. During his time there, a Jesuit priest that he knew told him about the case of Roland Doe. So he started collecting information about the case, newspaper clippings, everything he could find about it. And on May 21st, 1971, the novel The Exorcist was released. The novel and the movie feature a girl named Regan who was 12 years old at the time of the events. And the movie adaptation was released on December 26th, 1973. And that is when the Catholic Church immediately saw a spike in attendance and requests to investigate demonic activity.
And everybody feared pea soup.
Pea soup.
Because of Reagan's vomit.
Yes. So thoughts about this case and the validity of demonic activity itself are widely divided. Mark Opsenick wrote The Real Story of the Exorcist, in which he did an in-depth investigation of the case. Unfortunately, there's no ebook on this, and it's no longer in print, so I wasn't able to find it or read it. But I did find a quote that he determined, quote, "The boy had been a very clever trickster who had pulled pranks to frighten his mother and to fool children in the neighborhood," end quote.
So people were trying to debunk the whole, it's possession. They wanted to try to rationalize it because they were afraid of it.
There's a lot on both sides. There's a lot on both sides. There's a lot of skeptics out there who have wrote on this, and there's a lot of people that are on the side that possession happened. And they're people from all walks. You know, there's realists and skeptics on both sides. So that's interesting. Another thing I wanted to bring up with this was Father Vincent Lampert. He is an exorcist priest with the Archdiocese of Indianapolis, and he participated in the documentary The Exorcism of Roland Doe, which came out in 2021. Oh. And you can find that on Max. Or HBO Max, whatever they're calling it this week.
Whatever it is now.
Yes. When he was appointed as an exorcist, he was one of about 12 exorcists appointed by the church in the United States. So now they actually do have dedicated exorcists. It's not just a bishop can approve it and any priest can go perform it. So at that time, he was one of about 12. Today, that number is estimated to be between 150 and 175. Interestingly, I thought, the Pope is always an exorcist as head of the church. And reportedly, Pope John Paul II performed exorcisms in 1982, 1984, and 2000, which was only a few years before his death. Lampert states that the church is very cautious about labeling someone as possessed. Symptoms of possession can look like a physical issue, such as Tourette's or epilepsy. And Lampert never wants to prevent a person from getting the physical help they need, as that would be causing harm. And that's not his intention. He never wants to cause harm. At the time of the documentary, Lampert stated he had performed exorcisms on the first 3 types of demonic activity thousands of times.
Wow.
But had only performed 12 exorcisms on demonic possession in his 15 years as an exorcist. So the full possession thing, he had only seen 12 times. He reports that he has seen eyes rolling, convulsions, foaming at the mouth, even one levitation. And in one case, he said the afflicted's eyes turned green, the pupils slitted like a snake, and the demon said, "You can't get rid of us. We've been here too long, and you're not strong enough." Ooh. He once performed an exorcism on a person possessed by 7 demons. And he says that in some cases, the afflicted are aware but not in control. And in other cases, they have no awareness of what is happening when the demon takes control. So there's really no, it's this way or this way. Wow. Just some of my thoughts here for the end of this. I believe in demonic activity. Do I believe Roland had the devil himself in there? No, not really.
It could be just some demon who wanted to be the devil himself.
Right, like, it's a demon. It's gonna lie. Of course he's not gonna be, I'm some low-level demon, you know, I'm Crowley from Supernatural.
Right?
Are you watching Supernatural yet, guys? Because you need to. I definitely believe there was something really going on here. The fact that Roland was just able to go on from this and lead a really successful life.
Well, and the fact that he was super smart after this. It was almost like the possession and everything like cleared out anything that was
or there had been something with him his whole life.
And then it was,
you know, it was just building. Do I believe that exorcism was a resounding success and that it's a valid practice? I have no idea. I don't think we have enough understanding of this stuff to really have a definitive process that works.
The Catholic Church won't give up any of the information. I mean, I don't blame them, but also there's so much of it out there.
Yeah, well, and you can find the rites, and there are practicing exorcists that are not and demonologists that are not affiliated with the Catholic Church. So, you know, there's a lot of things out there. How do we know what happens after the exorcism? You know, like, where did the demon go? Was he banished to hell? Did he go into that priest? Like, where the fuck does he go?
I mean, Ghostbusters, they put him in a little box and then they put him in like a giant vacuum seal tube.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different crazy.
But, you know, maybe they were just throwing uncooked spaghetti at the wall that is demonic possession, trying to see what stuck, but at least they were trying to do something.
Yeah.
You know? So I will say that. Do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay.
That was wow.
Yeah.
That was a wow.
So sleep well, witches.
Yeah.